Katana Zero combines fast-paced action with a narrative so gripping it could easily become your next TikTok obsession. Imagine your childhood nightmares of cyberpunk dystopias and wild 80s drug-fueled trips colliding to spawn a neon-soaked, snarky fever dream. Beneath the flashy surface, there's a deeper story of trauma, memory, and one man's relentless, fentanyl-fueled murder spree. Today, we'll slice through the chaos to explore what makes Katana Zero so compelling, and yes, I own it on Steam. Make sure to support the developers while we wait for that long overdue DLC. Looking at you, Silk Song. So grab your Genki textbooks, some Adderall, and maybe a dash of bath salts, because today we're diving headfirst into the glorious dumpster fire that is Katana Zero. Starting a new game, we get a call on our trusty Nokia N95. The instructions? Leave no survivors. That's it. We kick things off in the factory hideout. The soundtrack slaps, and the gameplay is fast-paced and deadly. And yes, you can pet the cat in Katana Zero. This goon tries to stop us with lasers, but we just roll through them. A scientist's head explodes thanks to a black Russian. Used the lasers to defeat the goons, and once the job's done, we're told to go home to our noisy apartment. It's fine though. Those noisy neighbors won't be around much longer. We drink tea and go to sleep. Something about a demon. Between missions, we meet our therapist, the real MVP of this wild journey. I skip through his dialogue because obviously I'm a Chad who doesn't need therapy. He gives us our next target, a Mr. Josh Rose. Next up is the Murdower Hotel. Stakes are raised higher here than your grandma's blood pressure after reading her Facebook comments. At the front desk, we lie our way past the receptionist by claiming we're doing an anime cosplay. She totally buys it. We try to take the elevator, but the goons think I'm the dragon. And yeah, blood sprays on the walls like it's auditioning to be a Tarantino film. You can even watch the NPCs chat if you're into that kind of thing. We finally reach Josh, but instead of letting us stab him, he decides to jump off the building and game end himself. What a way to ruin the fun. We speech check our way past the federal agent in the hotel lobby. We get back home and a little girl crashes into us at full speed. I tell her to buzz off because who has time for that? The news is already broadcasting what we did at the hotel. Real subtle, just like my videos. Like and subscribe. Haha, hit that bell. We sleep and surprise, another nightmare. Someone gets shot trying to warn us of something. Guess we'll never know. Back at the psychiatrist's office, we grab our daily dose of schizophrenia meds and get our next target, DJ Electrohead. Tape 3 drops us in the Club Neon, a vibrant rave from hell where the music pumps and you just start dancing like there's no tomorrow. No sword this time, stealth is your best friend, like that guy at Wawa who always offers you free samples. We get another call that tells me not to talk to Electrohead, and I comply because I don't chat with drug dealers. After a messy escape, we find the girl playing outside our apartment again. She lets us keep the toy under the couch, though I had no idea it was even there. Nightmare time again. The girl turns into a doll, back to the shrink's office for meds. In tape 4, we head to the Mutual-Nil Prison to find an inmate named Fa Yun. It's a setup and everyone's dead when we arrive. It turns out we've been swatted. Each encounter here feels like a personal attack, like negotiating your way through a prison yard full of guys who don't understand the 3-strike rule. Hallucinations of a homeless veteran haunt us. No, I don't have spare change. Leave me the fuck alone. When we return home, there's a creepy tape showing us the Russian guy killing our neighbors. Oh, and there's another nightmare of Baby Zero playing with a toy. Back to the shrink's office, but he's a no-show. Cool, no therapy today, I guess. Who needs them anyway? I don't need my meds. I'm not crazy. Studio 51. The name sounds suspiciously close to Studio 51, right? This level is basically a No More Heroes fever dream, with enemies swarming you as you slice through them like Travis Touchdown on a Red Bull binge. You'll be cutting through waves and waves of enemies. The only thing missing here is a lightsaber that needs to be recharged with a jerking off motion. We use time-slowing powers to make it through the Donkey Kong style challenges, dodge lasers and take down enemies. There's also the Quiet Hills floor, which has a reference to a familiar horror monster. You get an achievement for bonking him. We use the key cards we collected to get backstage and fight the Russian guy. He keeps killing us over and over until Snow interrupts everything and tells us to f off. Back at the apartment, the little girl's dressed up for us as Halloween. Cute, right? We give her a rotten fish head as a treat. She leaves, then I go to sleep. The sleep paralysis demons are back, chatting about life, death, and nightmares within nightmares. What is even happening anymore? The mansion hideout is next. The architecture creates a sense of exploration, where each room feels like walking into a drug deal gone wrong. You're never sure who's gonna pull a knife, or start yelling about lizard people. After being blown up by a door and questioned by the Russian guy, don't miss your next date, V. dying over and over. We eventually fight the axe guy. Watch out for his axe throws. We chop his head off and move on to the highway level. We land on the highway like we're Cloud Strife. You'll be dodging cars and guys with machine guns. You can whack these cones, which is pretty fun. When you reach the boss, it's still the Russian guy. He will try to shoot missiles at you, but you can just reflect his bullets back at him. He will fall down on the highway and the dragon kills him. Quite beautifully, I might add. We go to the bar to order some blue goo, and this guy tries to fill our head with conspiracy theories. We stumble out of the bar wasted and get back to the apartment and pass out. 3 days remain. We wake up to a banging at the door, and it's the little girl. She's hungry. We give her some protein paste as we are out of food stamps. Back to the psychiatrist's office again, and we are tripping balls from withdrawal. We get our shot and tell our therapist to go fuck himself. He tasks us with killing the dragon, but I don't think this will be an easy task. To cope with this mission, we enter the gambling hall and cheat our way to victory as usual. We enter the back rooms where the dragon is, and he runs away from us off to Chinatown. Tape 7 takes us to Chinatown, a place glowing with neon, more intense than a CCP propaganda video pretending Tiananmen Square never happened. As you hack through enemies, you can't help but feel suffocating influence of shadowy forces, building a world that's controlled by China, but with way more decapitations than usual. Smack some robots into cops and make them explode. This might be my favorite level, atmospheric and full of brutal combat, plus the music slaps. We eventually get surrounded by cops and have another schizophrenic episode, choosing to keep on living by choosing the death mask, because that makes sense. These scientist dudes kill all the cops and we're good to go, I guess. We get back to the apartment and the little girl wants to watch a snuff film with us, but instead we go to the video store to get samurai films we ordered and watch those instead. As soon as she falls asleep, we change the tape into the snuff film, but it turns out it's not a snuff film at all. It's footage of the dragon at the prison murdering all the guards. Except it's not just footage, we get to play as the dragon. Playing as the dragon feels like the game's equivalent of playing as Vergil in Devil May Cry. He can slash through enemies much faster than Zero. He also has a really funny death scream, which I enjoy very much. We see the dragon drown Fa Yun in the toilet, and then the tape just ends. We cut back to Zero trying to get his meds again, but we get a strange call telling us to go to this wacky address, just like another game I know. No meds for now, I guess. We proceed to the Slaughterhouse and all hell breaks loose. Everything seems normal until we're stopped by Vinny Vinesauce, and he tries to 360 no-scope us but fails. And we keep going while Vinny keeps trying to snipe us. Please, I don't want to spin. Stop. If you get hit near the stairs, you'll go tumbling down. You get to use these conveyor belts to crush these guys, which is also really fun. After that, Mr. Pizza Pasta throws us a bunch of tests and we pass with flying colors, proving we are the Gamma Null. Vinny proceeds to deny us our drugs, but we are fiending and break in anyway, finding nothing but a rotting corpse. We get back to the apartment and find the little girl. She wants to show us something. We look at this beautiful city below, taking in the game's beautiful art for a moment, before Zero throws his war medal off the roof, and making a promise to the little girl we will protect her no matter what. She proceeds to give us food poisoning the next morning. Back to get our meds, and it turns out we were just an experiment. Everyone we've been killing is a loose end, a part of this big project we have to clean up. Tape 10 drops us into the bunker, and this time we're descending even deeper and deeper into the claustrophobic tight corridors and relentless enemies. The pace doesn't slow down, it ramps up as we go lower, with each level feeling more suffocating than the last. It's less about reflection and more about survival, like you're falling down a rabbit hole armed with nothing but a sword and your messed up brain. In one hallway, we pass by bodies floating in tubes. At the end, a suicide bomber who oddly looks like me kicks us into another nightmare where Baby Zero plays with a toy before vanishing and everything goes red. Next up, the game decides to give us a gun, but instead of using it to shoot, Zero chucks it at an enemy. As the difficulty gets more intense, so does the music. This area's theme goes hard. More enemies in hallways, a real test of skill, or just using the fentanyl mode to cheat because winners do drugs. The dragon's pet shows up at the end of the level, and he harnesses the power of the sun to melt us. He blows up the floor and we tell him to shut up and fight. He knows our secret of immortality, but he's easy to kill anyway. He repeats the same pattern over and over. Slicing his head off, we use it to unlock the door to a family that I'm not even sure actually is there, triggering more schizophrenic visions. Back to Mr. Psychologist's office, he's very angry at us, more than usual, but we are more angry and bash his head in with a rock. Now it's time to get that sweet fentanyl. Oh yeah. yeah, that's that good shit. Searching his office, we find a government keycard and a dossier with our name on it. Well, that can't be good. Better go back home and shit. It turns out the place has been ransacked. Not only that, but there was never a little girl apparently. Everything that happened in the story was because of Zero. You killed that scientist, and there was never a little girl. The dragon was your partner in war times. Twist twist, the little girl was real, and that's the ending of the game. Okay, there is an alternate ending where things take a bizarre twist. Turns out your therapist isn't just some guy with a prescription pad. He's been on Chronos too, and the drug warps him into a full-blown monster. I'm talking about horrific creature from your nightmares levels of messed up, which explains a lot of why he's been so shady throughout the game. You fight him in this twisted form, but here's the kicker. Even though he's a giant, freakish abomination, you still kill him. The outcome? Pretty much the same. Whether he's a monster or not, you still bash his skull in. And the game ends on the same note of existential dread. So, that's Katana Zero, a game as addictive as injecting black tar heroin, but with a deep narrative-driven edge. It's a wild ride through the darkest corners of a fractured mind. If you haven't played it yourself yet, do yourself a favor. Grab it, sit back, and embrace the madness. And yeah, that DLC is never coming, huh? Thank you for watching this faulty breakdown of Katana Zero. If you enjoyed this one, and haven't seen the others, feel free to check out the other videos in the series, and subscribe for more funnies. Leave a comment if you think the DLC will ever come out, or are we just waiting for nothing? See you in the next one.